All right, we're diving into some seriously futuristic stuff today. California's brand new laws on AI deepfakes.
5 of them just dropped.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but this is real, and it affects everyone, not just the tech geniuses out there.
What's got me hooked is that this isn't just about stopping fake videos. It's about the future of art, entertainment, even politics.
Expert, you've been deep in this world. What's your take on California making these bold moves?
What's fascinating is how these laws position California.
They're not just playing catch-up with deepfake technology, they're setting the stage, drawing lines in the sand for how we handle AI's creative power.
This is about anticipating the chaos before it happens, and that's a really forward-thinking approach.
It definitely feels like a watershed moment.
For me, the most mind-boggling one is this law about protecting the digital likeness of artists who have passed away.
We need a law for that.
Shouldn't respecting someone's legacy go without saying?
You'd hope so, right?
But this gets to the heart of a huge issue in the digital age. Who owns an artist's image, especially after they're gone?
This law establishes boundaries, making sure someone can't just digitally resurrect Elvis Presley to sell soda without permission, for example.
It's about preserving their legacy and ensuring their work is used with respect and integrity, even in the digital realm.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than just assuming people would be nice with technology this powerful.
It's like setting rules for a whole new world of digital creation.
Which leads us to law, #2, right?
This one seems like it's straight out of an artist's dream contract.
It is a game changer for performers, that's for sure.
For those who might not be familiar, AI can now create incredibly realistic replicas of someone's voice, their face, their entire likeness.
This law mandates that if a studio wants to use an AI replica of, say, a singer's voice for a song or an actor's face in a movie, they have to have a contract in place. Because before this, were there cases of it basically being a free-for-all?
Actors and singers finding out their digital selves were out there working without them.
It was happening more and more, and the legal landscape wasn't equipped to deal with it.
This law puts the power back in the hands of the artist, making sure they have a say and are compensated fairly for their work, even when it's their digital twin stepping into the spotlight.
It's like they're establishing the rules of the game for this whole new era of AI-powered entertainment.
Speaking of new eras, things get really interesting when we look at Law #3 and how it tackles deepfakes in the world of politics.
This feels like we're getting into some real House of Cards territory.
It's a hot-button issue for sure.
Deepfakes have the potential to completely upend elections with the spread of misinformation.
Imagine a world where you can't trust if a video of a politician saying or doing something outrageous is real or fabricated.
That's terrifying.
So how does this law even begin to address something that slippery?
This law basically gives candidates, elected officials, even the Attorney General himself, more power to combat deepfakes during elections.
Platforms like Facebook or Twitter could be required to remove or label a deepfake video, especially if it pops up right before an election.
So it's like trying to regulate truth in the age of AI.
That's a massive undertaking.
But then, Law #4 comes along and seems to broaden the scope even further.
It's not just about protecting politicians from fake news anymore, is it?
You're right, this one goes beyond elections.
Law #4 expands the protection to cover any materially deceptive deepfakes that target elected officials, candidates, even election workers.
It recognizes that the damage these videos can do extends beyond just influencing votes.
They can be used to smear someone's reputation, erode public trust, and undermine the entire political process.
So it's like acknowledging that deepfakes can be weaponized, even outside the heat of a campaign.
That's pretty sobering.
But how do you even begin to police something like this?
How can you tell a deepfake video from a real one these days?
They're getting so sophisticated.
You're right, it's getting harder and harder to distinguish real from fake, and that's where Law #5 comes in. Transparency.
This law mandates that if a political campaign uses a deepfake video in their advertising, they have to disclose it.
It's like putting a label on it that says, hey, this isn't real, but we made it for this specific purpose.
So if a campaign uses a deepfake, they have to come clean about it.
Right.
That makes sense, in theory.
It does.
But how on earth do you actually enforce something like that?
Yeah.
What's to stop them from just not saying anything?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
This law puts the burden of enforcement on the California Fair Political Practices Commission.
Really?
They're the ones tasked with investigating potential violations, figuring out what crosses the line into substantial alteration of someone's image, and taking action if needed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge responsibility. It's like they need a whole team of deepfake detectives over there. And this whole thing, it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
This deepfake technology, it's not just about elections, is it?
No, not at all.
It feels like it could touch every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. Think about it. Deepfakes could be used to create fake evidence in a court case.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You could have entire financial markets manipulated by a convincing enough video.
It's true.
We've seen how easily misinformation can spread online. Now imagine that misinformation looking completely real.
Oh, gosh, it's scary.
The implications are massive.
Okay, now I'm really starting to freak out a bit.
Yeah.
Are we headed towards a world where we just can't trust anything we see or hear? Should we all just cancel our internet service and become hermits?
I wouldn't recommend becoming a hermit just yet.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, this is where critical thinking becomes more important than ever. Technology alone can't solve this. We need a more discerning public.
So what can we do?
Yeah, what can we do?
How do we become more deepfake aware in our everyday lives?
Right.
It feels like we're all going to need a crash course in digital skepticism.
It's not about becoming cynical,
Right.
but about being savvy.
Okay, so.
Don't just take things at face value, especially online.
Okay.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
where did this video come from? Who benefits if it's true? Are there other sources confirming this?
Right.
We all need to get more comfortable with questioning the information that comes our way.
It's like we need to develop a built-in deepfake detector for our brains.
Yes, exactly.
This feels particularly crucial since these California laws, groundbreaking as they are, only apply within California, right?
Right.
What about the rest of the country? The rest of the world?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Yeah.
California is often seen as a trendsetter, particularly in the tech world.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be surprising to see other states and even countries look at these laws as a blueprint for their own regulations.
It's like a game of legal dominoes.
Exactly.
But this isn't just about laws and regulations, is it?
No.
This feels like it changes everything about how we view reality.
It's uncharted territory in many ways.
Yeah.
We've always had to be cautious about misinformation,
We have.
but deepfakes add a whole new layer of complexity.
Right.
It's no longer enough to just be skeptical of the source.
Right.
We have to question the very nature of what we're seeing and hearing.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
Deepfake selections, the nature of truth itself, it can feel overwhelming. But before we spiral into an existential crisis, maybe we should bring this back down to earth a bit.
Okay.
What are some real-world situations where we might see these California laws in action?
That's a great idea. Let's paint a picture, so to speak, of what this could look like in practice.
Okay.
Imagine for a moment a world-famous musician, someone iconic, like, say, David Bowie.
Okay, so we're picturing David Bowie, someone whose image and music are so iconic.
Right.
What happens if a company decides to use his likeness, say, in a commercial for, I don't know, space-themed insurance?
Under California's new law,
Uh-huh.
that would be a non-starter.
Really?
Bowie's estate would need to give explicit consent for the use of his digital replica in any commercial venture.
Wow, so it's really locked down.
It is.
So no more surprise comebacks from beyond the digital grave to sell us stuff. It's a little bittersweet,
Yeah,
but I get the importance of protecting an artist's legacy.
absolutely.
But what about something like a movie?
Okay,
Let's say a director is midway through filming,
right.
and tragically, one of the lead actors passes away.
Oh, gosh.
Could they use AI to finish the film?
That's where those contractual agreements we talked about become really crucial.
Okay.
The law requires actors to be professionally represented when negotiating the use of their digital likeness, even for posthumous projects.
Okay.
If the actor had agreed to those terms in their contract, the filmmaker would be in the clear to use AI to complete the film.
It's like having a digital will for your acting career. You're planning for the future of your work even beyond your lifetime. That's incredible. Okay, last scenario. Let's jump back into the political arena. Imagine a deepfake video surfaces online right before an election showing a candidate saying something totally out there, something like, "I hate puppies."
Well, that's certainly a quick way to lose the animal lover vote.
Right.
But in that scenario, the new law comes into play.
Okay.
Platforms like Facebook or Twitter would be legally obligated to either remove that video entirely or label it very clearly as potentially false or misleading content, especially with the election looming.
And if those platforms drag their feet or worse, turn a blind eye, what recourse do the candidates have?
That's where the teeth of the law come in.
Okay.
The candidates themselves or even election officials can take legal action against the platforms,
Wow.
demanding the deepfake be taken down or at the very least labeled prominently as potentially false.
Huh.
This empowers them to fight back against these kinds of digital dirty tricks.
It's like a high-stakes game of digital whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it feels like a constant battle to stay ahead of this technology.
It does.
It can feel pretty overwhelming, even for folks who are pretty plugged in.
Right.
What advice would you give to everyday people who are just trying to navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape?
You've hit on something really important.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel powerless in the face of all this technology,
Right.
but we're not.
Okay.
We all have the power to become more discerning consumers of information.
Yeah.
Don't take anything at face value.
Yeah.
Question your sources. Be wary of information designed to elicit a strong emotional response.
Right.
Look for independent verification.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a healthy skepticism without falling into the trap of cynicism.
So we all need to become digital detectives in a way, always on the lookout for clues that might reveal a deepfake or misleading content.
Exactly.
It's actually kind of empowering.
It is empowering.
Yeah.
We have more agency than we often realize.
Right.
These laws are a testament to that.
They are.
We as a society have the power to shape how these technologies are used, to set boundaries, and to hold those who misuse them accountable.
That's a great point to end on.
It is.
These laws are just the beginning of a much larger conversation about the role of AI in our lives.
Absolutely.
Big thanks to you, expert, for navigating this complex topic with us and for sharing your incredible insights.
My pleasure.
And to you, our listeners, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay skeptical. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the topics shaping our world.
See you then.
Until then, take care and be well.